Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Skip. Got my guy Tap back, the man who started it all. What's happening? The
What up,
Sactown
guys?
Breakdown is back.
We are back.
Bro, Tap. We were talking. Wait, did we when we went and saw a hoop game together. We went and saw a Kings game together. The Kings were winning, and we
Yeah,
knew we were gonna make it to the playoffs. And I
yeah.
was like, Tap, are we coming back for the playoffs?
We had to. I gotta be honest with you guys. COVID hit and the bubble was happening, and I was like, I just can't do this anymore with this team. Luke Walton, I was like, I'm done. I honestly, the guys from like the 2021 draft, I still don't know who like half of them are because like I stopped watching basketball. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, just call me when the Kings are good again. And I still am not watch. I still didn't watch every game of the regular season, but I'm watching every playoff game for sure, and we're back. It feels good. It feels good to be rooting. I was 8 years old when the Kings last made the playoffs. I'm 25 now. I have a house. Last time we had Sactown Breakdown, I was at my parents' house. Like so much has changed even since I really watched Kings game last, and now they're in the playoffs. So we had to make a comeback. I had to.
That's how long it's been. Like between the last time the Kings were in the playoffs and the last time Tap was watching it now, he all growed up.
The last
He's
time the
all
Kings
grown
were in
up.
the playoffs, I hadn't hit puberty yet, and I still haven't. But we're gonna do this anyways.
Damn it, we're gonna do it anyway. So as y'all know, last night, Saturday, April 15th, Kings had their first playoff game in
Yes.
17 years, 16 seasons, and I'll be damned, we came out on top and beat the Golden State Warriors.
Yes, we
Score
did.
was 123 to 126. We are going to get into it. We're going to break that down. But Tap, let's just give our initial thoughts. But like before even going into the game, we were leading up to the last end of the season. People were jockeying for seeding. Kings, it was pretty certain that we were going to stay in third, but it could have been the Lakers. It could have been the Clippers. It
Yes.
could have been the damn Pels. But we ended up with the Golden State Warriors. Just in that time, like, what were your thoughts, and who did you want for the playoff matchup?
Uh, maybe I'm stupid, but I actually wanted the Warriors or the Lakers. I had someone at work telling me that the Lakers would be a terrible matchup because we didn't have anybody to guard Anthony Davis. As of about 5 minutes ago, Anthony Davis bumped into Jaren Jackson Jr. and can't move his arm. So I don't think we have to worry about that. Um, as far as the Warriors go, I don't know. I'm not scared of Draymond Green whatsoever. I don't. I think Sabonis, honestly, we'll get into Sabonis. But I'm not really scared of the Warriors. Like obviously, Steph and Clay are scary. Clay's like has like two good games a series though. Steph, you got to guard him. There's nothing you can do about Steph though. I mean, you can try to guard Steph, you really can't. But I'm just not scared of the Warriors, and I'm not really scared of the Lakers. To me, I'm just like, give me one of those two teams. I didn't really, um, I don't know. It'd be easier for me to tell you who I didn't want to see because I definitely wanted to see them play the Warriors or the Lakers because they didn't scare me at all. I didn't really want to see them play the Clippers. The Clippers are super deep, and the Suns got KD. I didn't want to see them touching either of those two teams. As far as just Western Conference team goes, I'm just looking at the standings and who we could have played possibly. But yeah, I don't know. I just the Clippers and Suns probably scared me more than the Warriors and Lakers for sure.
Yeah, 1,000%. I was kind of right there with you. I really like. I would have loved to have smacked the Lakers, but I have such disdain for the Lakers. I really didn't even want them to make the playoffs. Like I
Yeah,
just
me
wanted them
either.
to be embarrassed and not even get in. But my like next to that, it was the Warriors. I like I like how we match up against them. I like that. You know, they were known for their defense. That coach leaves. Coach Mike Brown comes to us. Gets
Yeah,
NBA Coaches Association Coach of the Year. I believe he'll get NBA Coach of the Year still. And their defense falls off a cliff. And we got the guy that has
yeah,
all the secrets. I just and just from a if I step back from my Kings fandom, just from a basketball sense, I felt like that was going to be the most interesting series. Just two teams, high octane offense, just gunning it out. and last man standing, wins. So the first game obviously showed us that, and I guess we can kind of get into that a little bit going into this game, going into the series. Really, like, what were your thoughts? Obviously, we know that you're not afraid of the Warriors. I wasn't afraid of the Warriors. I'll be honest with you. As much as I love Kings fans, every one of them that said the word "scared" and "Warriors" started to piss me off. Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, we got here. Like, we weren't supposed to be here, and we got here. Don't start talking scary and shit now. Like, have the
Yeah.
confidence. See, like, this team went out there and had the confidence to whoop so many teams' ass so we can get here. Back them up and have the same confidence. Have Monk's confidence. Have Fox's confidence. Like, don't be talking like that. You want to say concerned? I understand concerns. You want to say, I have whatever, but don't be talking about scared. But anyway, knowing
Well,
that
see,
you
my
wasn't
thing with the
scared.
Warriors,
Mm-hmm.
even if the Kings if the Kings lose to the Warriors, I would be fine with it just based off the fact that like we haven't been in the playoffs in forever. The Warriors are a dynasty. It's fine. It's okay. I don't know if I could take the Kings losing to the Lakers because I think the Lakers suck. Like De'Aaron Fox versus D'Angelo Russell. Are you kidding me? But like if the Warriors were to beat the Kings in the series, I'd be like, okay, it's fine. It's almost like the Kings need to get the series out of the way where they fight their asses off, get beat, and then next year, boom, it's time to really show. So, but I mean, if they do beat the Warriors, it would be awesome. But like, I wouldn't be necessarily like upset if the Warriors were to beat the Kings, but I'm not necessarily scared of the Warriors at the same time because like at the same time, we can't really guard Steph. Nobody can, but who can guard De'Aaron Fox? They're relying on
Nobody.
Gary Payton. This dude had a abdominal strain for 6 months or something, whatever the hell his problem was. So like, who's going to guard De'Aaron Fox in the same, no one can guard De'Aaron Fox. So Sabonis, once again, we'll get into it, is the guy I'm kind of worried about, but we can get into it now, I
Yeah, man,
guess.
we can get into it now. Let's go over to the box score and take a look. So the Kings go into this game, and we were a 1 point favorite to win, and looks like the odds were right because we took that W 123 to 126.
hmm
Yeah, man, go ahead. You said you wanted to go in on Sabonis. Talk about it.
Well, so first of all, maybe I should preface this by saying if you actually think that the Tyrese Halliburton Sabonis trade was a bad trade, you need to find the tallest building you can and jump off it head first. That that okay. Even now, I'm reading all these things about how like Tyrese Halliburton is in all these trade value columns and stuff. How he's so like he's the greatest. He's like top 10 trade value. It's like for what? Because he can pass the ball. I don't understand. And obviously, Sabonis does the same thing. Sabonis passes the ball too. But I honestly think Tyrese Halliburton has been vastly overrated, in my opinion. I might be getting a bunch of hate for that, but I don't see Tyrese Halliburton in the playoffs. Do you?
I don't either. Mm-mm.
So I don't, and it's like, oh well, this is going to be I've seen people also be like, oh, this is like a one and done, or the Kings aren't going to be good. The Pacers are building for the long term. It's like, yeah, we'll see how that goes with Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton as your backcourt. But with that being said, I love the Sabonis trade. I think Sabonis is a beast. And you can go back to Twitter. As soon as they traded for Sabonis, I was like, yes. All these Kings fans were like shitting their diapers about it. And I was pumped. I couldn't believe we traded for Sabonis. I like Sabonis, but that being said, he can't keep having 17-point games where he gets a triple double, so we praise him for it. It's like this dude needs to be dropping 25 points a game, period, in my opinion, for us to be doing well. If you look at the box score yesterday, obviously, the Kings won and everybody was happy. But if you look at the box score, you got Sabonis dropping 12 points, 16 rebounds, and where's the assist? Am I stupid? Where's the assist? Oh, 2 assists. But see, the thing with Sabonis is that like we need his scoring because Malik Monk's not going to drop 32 points every game. De'Aaron Fox not even going to drop 38 points every game. And obviously, it doesn't just fall on Sabonis because we got guys like Harrison Barnes who only had 13 points. But I will say between Harrison Barnes and Trey Lyles, 13, 16 points each between the two of them. Barnes and Lyles' points were so useful, like to the offense. They scored when it mattered. They didn't score a ton of points, but if it wasn't for like some of those Harrison Barnes steals, for example, in the beginning of the game, it stopped the Warriors from getting momentum. If you look at Trey Lyles' points when we were kind of down by like 6 to 9 points and we couldn't really quite get over the hump, Trey Lyles' threes kept us in this game. So Barnes and Lyles kind of really were the saving graces of last night. But we can't keep relying on the non-all-stars to get the job done. When you got Sabonis, who should be dropping, to me, 20 to 25 points a game. And if you don't think he's that kind of guy and you think he's more like a facilitator and a playmaker, not as much of a scorer, well then I don't know what to tell you, but we should probably get another big man to put next to Sabonis. Because like I even saw yesterday, I think it was in the post game. I don't know if it was Kenny Thomas or Matt Barnes. One of them was saying that they don't really think Sabonis is a center. And I kind of don't think he's a center either to me. He's really strong, but size wise, like, I don't know. I love Sabonis. I'm not saying I don't love Sabonis, but he needs to produce more. We can't have De'Aaron Fox dropping 38 points a game because this man's going to be tired by the time the second round rolls around. You know what I mean? And as far as Keegan Murray goes, he had a really bad game yesterday. 1 of 5, 0 of 3 from 3, 2 points. Obviously, some of these guys like Barnes and Murray, they're going to pick it up. Kevin Huerter, horrible game. 0 of 5 shooting from 3, 3 of 12 from the field. It's obvious that these guys aren't going to have such low scoring output games. It'll get better, but regardless of anybody else, Sabonis has got to step it up. He can't keep living on these low point triple double games. He's got to score more and provide more for the offense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That kind of my thing. I would like Sabonis around between like 23, 21 and 23 points per game. I I don't think you're the only one that is of the mind that he needs to be a little more selfish.
25 could be a little high. I think I said 25. That could be a little high, but yeah, more than 12 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, if we want to have him be a little more, yeah, more than 12 for sure. If we want to have him be a little more aggressive in the playoffs, something like 25 would help out Fox,
Yeah,
quite a bit
exactly.
more. Because the reality of the fact is, if we're talking about team assists and not just Sabonis's assists, then just the way that we run the offense, we're going to get enough wide open shots to where if guys just have half decent games, we are going to accumulate the team assists needed and the ball movement needed to keep, these playoff defenses honest.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about if we want to take the next level, one of the things that the Kings struggle with, which we did a good job this last game, but is getting to the line, and especially getting to the line when our shots are not dropping, so we can score when the clock is stopped. And Sabonis being a little more aggressive is going to put the onus on that other team's center and get them in more foul trouble because of how aggressive he plays, because of how frustrated they'll be that he keeps scoring to them, because of the touch that he has around the rim. They will get more frustrated. They will create more mental mistakes, and it's going to put the whole team at the line more. So guys like Monk that shoot in the 90 percentile can knock down those free throws. Guys like Fox who have stepped up his free throw shooting into the 80 percentile and now, can get to the line and get those free throws. So I totally agree that Sabonis is aggressive enough for rebounds and he's vastly unselfish, so he will still get high assists. But I agree he needs to be a little more selfish, a little more aggressive around the cup. And then also, what does that do? If people know that he's not just going to pass out, they're going to try to cheat off of him a little bit more, and then
Mm-hmm.
he is going to make that smart pass, and we are going to get those corner threes and such like that. So it all really goes back into just being a asset for the team with him being that much more aggressive on offense, especially in the paint.
And if you look at Sabonis too, he's much more athletic than Kevon Looney.
Hmm.
He's bigger than Draymond Green, and he's bigger than Andrew Wiggins. Those are probably the three guys that would be trying to defend him.
Right.
So I don't see how Sabonis really. I mean, obviously Draymond's a defensive player of the year, whatever. But I I don't see how he couldn't have his way with this team personally. Like Sabonis should be. I mean, if look at like prime DeMarcus Cousins, he used to draw fouls like it was crazy. Like he lived off the free throw line, and
Hmm.
it's funny too because that's kind of like what Joel Embiid does now. Joel Embiid kind of almost has like a more advanced game of what Boogie did, but Sabonis has got to be drawing more fouls. I would think. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know because on the flip side, he also has a bunch of offensive fouls he picks up all the time. Yesterday was a pretty good game. But
Hmm.
for the most part, Sabonis is like pretty he's always drawing offensive fouls, and he gets like mad at the refs, and it's like, man, I just wish he would just pick up the fouls. He would be at the free throw line. It would just make things run so much smoother than they already do for having the best offense of all time.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, yeah, it could be that much better. I think that's where, like, obviously we knew him being in foul trouble. Honestly, it's part of the reason why some of our defense is constructed the way it is. Going back to him not being a true center, and I do agree with you. I don't believe he's a true center. But in the position that we're in, if you gotta put him at a center, you could do a lot worse than Demonis Sabonis. But he's not a true
True.
rim protector. He started to turn into a better rim protector. Then he broke his hand. And then that's when you
Yeah.
really saw that was when our defense in the middle of or earlier in the season, getting to the middle when we started to we crept up into like the 16-14 range. Right after he broke his hand is when we started falling back. Right, that game after when we played the Denver Nuggets, that's when we started falling backwards. And a big part of that was we had better perimeter defense when he was able to use both hands without worrying about either one being hurt.
Yeah.
But the second that it didn't, and he was still picking up those offensive fouls, we shifted our defense to allow more threes and to back off on shooters, so that way they didn't drive into the paint and then he rush in and get those unnecessary offensive fouls contesting. His other offensive fouls obviously would come from the pushing behind the back, and every now and then he'd get one on screens, but he's so good at screens that he doesn't really get them too much. So that's that's why our defense is even constructed the way it does. That's why we got worse at perimeter defense, because we would sag off a shooter so they didn't beat past us and then burn him and then he get the foul for it. So I mean, that's part of not having a true center, not having a true rim protector as your center, is that you have to make adjustments like this. But with all that being said, um, so yeah, Sabonis just got to be a little more aggressive. Yeah, and then let's keep it real. Like, they did throw double teams at him in the paint, and
Hmm.
I was surprised at how many fouls he didn't get while he was
Oh
down
yeah.
there battling. But that's also when he's got to remember, keep a clear head, kick the ball out to whoever's open in the corner, and let them knock down the three. And then yes, that, like, the Warriors are doing the same thing. They were swarming and putting bodies down there to try to combat how great Sabonis is at rebounding. But as long as we do those things, we shoot the three so well, especially from the corner, we will come out on top ultimately.
And speaking of rim protection, Alex Len got some minutes, which I kind of think we all saw coming the final few games of the season, like 6 games or so. He was like playing some minutes, which he didn't play any for forever. And it seemed like towards the end of the season, they were kind of trying out Holmes, trying out Len. I like Alex Len. I think as a rim protector, he's probably, I don't know. I wouldn't say he's necessarily better than Holmes, but he's a bigger body. But the problem with that is Alex Len, as much as I love the guy, and I do wish he got more minutes, he can't keep up with the pace the Kings need to play at. So it's almost like if you got to choose between him and Holmes, Holmes is more undersized, but I think he can run more, where Alex Len, you can only use him in spurts because Alex Len can't run up and down the floor like Holmes can. And even Holmes probably is going to be having trouble, which is why Trey Lyles gets so many minutes, because he's bigger, but he can run. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what plays out with this off the bench big man rim protecting situation. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if Alex Len's going to be able to keep up with that pace the rest of the playoffs, or for however long the Kings are in the playoffs. We'll see. Maybe he'll be running up and down doing so many sprints that he's going to look like a elite level Olympic sprinter by the end of the playoffs. I kind of doubt it though, but we'll see.
I I don't want to say I saw this coming, but I always felt like something was up. Now it's gone on record that he was dealing with some family related things, as he is Ukrainian, and there is some turmoil and stuff going on in his homeland. So I know there was a lot of personal things going off the court, but I did watch him in an interview, and he said, actually it's probably better that I play basketball because it can help take my mind off of it. The family that I haven't been able to talk to in months and stuff like that are over there, and that made sense. But I mean, it always struck me because throughout the season, when it was obvious to the whole entire league, and they would attack our paint because we knew we lacked rim protection. Holmes, as much as I love him, like you said, he's undersized, and we were really getting beat up on by teams that had size. And
Mm-hmm.
Alex Len is a legitimate rim protector. And what I like the most about rim protectors isn't necessarily the blocks, although it's nice to make defensive plays. It's kind of like people see it when teams play Rudy Gobert. Sometimes the guard may break past, their defender and then get into the paint, and literally just seeing Rudy Gobert there, they stop their momentum and they dribble back out, or
Yeah,
they
just
go
his
off to the
presence of
side.
being there.
Just his presence alone of just being there. And that's what Alex Lynn did. I can count multiple times, especially through the last bit of games, where I could tell, like, okay, there's no coincidence that he's playing more and Metu isn't. We pretty much know who we're going to go up against in the third seed. Coach Brown knew that. He knew that we had to throw size because that's something that Golden State lacks. So he starts playing Lynn. I caught the whole game plan as we were ramping up to it. And if you watch last night's game, Lynn did exactly that with some of the minutes that he had. Obviously, he had the blocks, but what I was looking at more is once teams broke past their defender and they don't see Sabonis, they see a true rim protector with length and everything there, how that changed their approach. And that's why he got Defensive Player of the Game chain. He came in his limited
Yeah,
minutes. Alex Lynn had what? Let's take a look. He had 7
13 minutes.
rebound. Yeah, 13 minutes. Had only scored 2 points, but actually, I thought he scored
4
4 points.
points. Yeah, 2 of 2
Yeah,
shooting.
2 of 2. Okay, thank you. And great assist the way that he attacked the bucket too. But at 7 rebounds, had 5 defensive rebounds, 2 offensive ones, 2 blocks and a steal. Oh wait, no, excuse me, 1 block and 2 turnovers. Like in that time, that's exactly what you want from your backup center. And it gives us a different look. Sabonis can be off, can be resting. We will still get enough rebounds, but we'll also get some rim protection, which can help us get out into transition and get more of those transition buckets that Mike Brown talked about, because we only had like 2 in the first half or something like that. But he said we had like 10 in the second half, and we
Mm-hmm.
need more transition buckets. And the good thing about this too is, whereas Domas may take the break, may lead the break when he's in, Lynn can actually stay back and trail because we have so many players that are so fast that go to the corners, and we got guys like Monk and Fox that can attack the rim. If Lynn's not in the offensive play when we're in transition, it actually doesn't hurt us too bad. And if we miss the transition bucket, the furthest guy back is our rim protector, which isn't too
Mm-hmm.
bad. So kind of works out for us, in my opinion.
It's an interesting conversation. We don't necessarily have to have it today, but the idea of like in the next season, for example, who could the Kings trade for or sign that could be almost like a hybrid of Alex Lynn or and Holmes, where it's like they're athletic enough to keep up with the pace, but they're also not like a complete stiff on offense. They can be next to Sabonis, or they can play when Sabonis is out, and they can still fit in the offense. I don't know who that player would be. I actually had somebody at work told me that they think the Kings should go after Draymond Green. I don't want that. But like a defensive player that can not be a complete stiff on offense, that could maybe fit next to Sabonis or play on his own with the starting lineup. I have no clue who that would be. Maybe comment down below and let us know who you think that person could be. I have no clue. Maybe play
And
a
tell
little armchair GMing here
and tell
in the
us why it's
comments.
Jonathan Isaacs. Tell us why it's Jonathan Isaac.
Jonathan Isaac.
You heard me. We'll talk about it more later. Going back into the game, so we talked about Alex Lynn and his impactfulness and why he got Defensive Player of the Game chain, which was awesome for him to see. We talked about Sabonis, and although he didn't have his normal game, we talked about the adjustments that he can make. And let's still acknowledge he had a double double. I mean, goddamn, the guy
Yeah.
still had 16 damn rebounds. That's
Hmm.
pretty freaking good. Um, you know what? I would like to, before we get to our top performers, which I think is pretty obvious. It's Trey Lyles, Malik Monk, and De'Aaron Fox. Let's talk about our before we talk about our underperformers, I want to talk about a performer, and I still think it's a good performer, but I want to talk about performer. Can you take a second and talk about how you felt Davion Mitchell played in his playoff debut?
Davion Mitchell, like obviously, you look at like not a lot happened, but he had a steal, he had a block, he had 4 assists. His defense is always like at the very least average, if not above average, depending on who he's guarding. Like I've said 3 times already, I think no one's gonna be able to guard Steph. That's just how it is. But Davion's always all over the place. He's instant energy, and honestly, Davion's the man. Like I love Davion, and I think he had a great, a great performance for a bench guard to come in and do what he does. I think he played great personally.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I had been up and down on Davion for the first 2/3 of the season.
Same
Just
with
being
me.
transparent. I mean, his defense is almost always there unless he's getting erased on screens because of his
Yeah.
stature. But his effort is always there, and that's just something that just resonates with Sacramento Kings fans. It's why we love Rashawn Holmes. It's why we love players like TD overall. It's why we love Davion Mitchell. But he really started to get his shot in order in the last third of the season, especially the last month of the season. Not only was his shot more in order, but I felt like his playmaking got a little bit better. Um,
Mm-hmm.
One of the most frustrating things to me about Davion Mitchell is how easily he can penetrate the paint and then get there and not really have a plan. And then he dribbles back out, and it totally screws over our spacing because now guys that were in the right places got to like clear out the corner for him. And, so he's not stuffed in the corner, and then they got to rotate over to the wing, and then he can come back over to the wing so they can go up to the top. And it just really screws our spacing up. But he started eliminating a lot of those wasted penetrations and started making better decisions, started getting more aggressive at going to the cup. And, I really think it started. He basically got more efficient with his decisions, and it really started to play off for the Kings. So last night with him, with the limited scoring that he did do, but he did produce 3 points for us off of a three, and then the playmaking that he was doing with the defense that he applied, I think it, I think it was exactly what the Kings needed, and it helped me feel more comfortable with him going out there. He played 21 minutes, and I I'm interested to see how many minutes he plays next game. I'm just not sure if they're going to fluctuate very much, but the point is Davion Mitchell in his second season, if in his playoff debut, went out there and played some meaningful minutes and had a defensive impact and an overall positive impact on the game and the ball
Yeah.
movement and stuff, and that was really good. Let's talk about our non-performers. Let's talk about Keegan Murray. Let's talk about Kevin Herter. Who do you want to talk about first, Tap?
Uh, let's have you take it away with Keegan.
All right, so we'll start with Keegan. Keegan played 15 minutes. Tap said he was 1 of 5. Scored 2 points. Now he did have. I want to point this out. He did have 4 rebounds, 2 offensive and 2 defensive, and though they were key because we as a team we need to be crashing the boards. Harrison Barnes obviously did a really good job of that and setting the tone earlier on with his 7 rebounds. But I got to be honest with you. I'm not really worried about Keegan.
Yeah, me either.
I'm not really worried about him at all. He went out there, his temperament stayed the same. He took shots that just didn't drop. I would say maybe one of his shots, I can't even call it a bad shot. I just don't think it was the best shot, but he was still passing the ball back and forth, running side to side on Sabonis screens, relocating and just, really in his limited role and the limitations that he has within the offense, he still conducts and constructs offense in a very beautiful way, especially for a first year player. The only thing that, damn, I can't even really say that because I don't want him making too many decisions with the ball and trying to draw unnecessary fouls. I really think that, I mean, if he took 5 shots in 15 minutes, if 2 more of his shots dropped, we'd be singing a different story. I think Keegan Murray just
Hmm.
needs to continue to stay aggressive. I do think the moment got to him just a tiny bit, but I think he is the type of cerebral player to where he only needed to go through that one time and he got it out
Yeah.
of his system and he's good for the next game. What about you? What did you think? Keegan needs to do moving forward.
Well, what's nice about Keegan and even like Davion Mitchell too is like the guys we have on our bench now, they don't stick out like a sore thumb. Like,
Mhm.
and this isn't necessarily a bench player, but like anytime like Willie Cauley Stein was on the Kings, and I would just be like, ugh, like I just can't like. There's nobody on this team where they play minutes where I just can't stand it and glaze like roll my eyes and oh, I'm just like I don't care. Uh, like Keegan Murray. he's there and he's going to get the job done most nights. Some nights he's not, but I'm not worried about him. I'm not really worried about Davion. Like these guys to me are just like they're good. Like we haven't the Kings for years haven't been afforded the opportunity to just like have good bench guys. It's always been like one good starter and a bunch of guys that are trash. And like so it's nice that I don't have to worry about I'm not worried about Keegan at all. If he hits 2 threes a game and plays decent defense, then his job's done because you got Harrison Barnes, who's basically Keegan Murray in 12 years. He's already Harrison Barnes is doing a lot of the stuff that needs to be done. And it's not like you watch Keegan, you're like, oh wow, he totally messed up that defensive play there, or he's shooting threes and they're airballing and hitting the side of the backboard. Like there's nothing with Keegan that sticks out as being. It's almost like he's too calm. Like it's almost like there's a serial killer aspect to Keegan Murray. If I'm being honest with you, he's got that Kawhi Leonard energy, but it's good because he's young. He could be out partying, doing stupid things, but he's not. And that's like I totally trust him. Like if I had a kid right now, he could watch my kid. He could be my babysitter. I have total faith in Keegan Murray.
Uncle Keegan coming to a daycare near you.
Facts.
Yo, I'm right there with you, man. And to your point, I do want to point that out. He was very active on defense. He was very like showy with his hands. Like
Yeah.
I like when guys do that, especially young guys. And his stances, he had the wide open stance to which way he would allow the defender to go, which was usually pushing it away from the rim. They really want to push guys over to the sidelines and use the sideline and the baseline as an additional defender. And he was doing, all of those things, for quite some time. He ended the game with also only 2 personal fouls. I mean, granted, even though he only played basically 16 minutes, and that time and the way that he was, as aggressive as you would, want your rookie starting, forward to be, who's your 4th option, on offense, he was exactly what he needed to be. All right, so let's go talk about my guy Kayvon, aka Red Velvet, aka Headband Herder. So Kevin Herder in this game played 31 minutes. He was 3 of 12 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. But before we dig into him a little bit, I want to give him his props. 2 assists, and the way that he made plays on those assists was superb. It was beautiful basketball. And he also had, where you at, Kev? He had 5 rebounds, and all 5 were defensive rebounds, taking back possessions. And we know how we were concerned about the offensive rebounding of Kevon Looney on the Warriors and such. So for Kevin Herter to come in there and have that type of impact on the defensive glass was really good, and he even had a block as well. Okay, but let's talk about the obvious. He did not shoot the ball well.
No.
He did not shoot the ball well at all. And same thing. I'm not really worried about it. I'm not really concerned. I mean, how many games, like he ended the season on such a heater. How many games do we really expect for Kevin Herter to not be playing like this? And the other thing, to be honest, it's not like he was getting D'd up crazy. There was some decent defensive possessions that occurred on him, specifically from Dante DiVincenzo. Steph Curry wasn't really doing nothing with Kevin Herter. He can't. I mean, Kevin Herter's too long. But he's not going to have too many more bad shooting games like this, especially in the series. So I'm not really concerned about Herter. If anything, I want him to remain aggressive. And honestly, if you look at the way that they were defending him, they weren't really disrupting the DHOs too much. I can recall like 2 well-defended plays when he was trying to go for some threes. But honestly, outside of that, the shots just weren't dropping, Tap.
No, and the thing with Kevin Herter, and I'm sorry for referencing so many past Kings players and throwing them under the bus, but like if we were in the playoffs right now and Buddy Hield was our shooting guard and he went 0 of 5 from 3, I'd probably expect him to go 0 of 10 next game. I had no faith. What's nice about the whole Kings roster, I'm just gonna say it again. If they have a bad game, I'm not afraid that they're gonna like ask for a trade or be moody in the locker room. Like these guys aren't Willie Cauley-Stein and Buddy Hield. Like Kevin Herter, like he's 0 of 5 this game. I expect him to be like 10 for 11 from 3 next game. Like Kevin Herter is a stud. I love Kevin Herter. He's the man. And I'm not worried at all. Kevin Herter, I expect him, he's gonna be dropping threes left and right. Like to me, I look at Kevin Herter like some of those Clippers teams with JJ Redick or when Kyle Korver was on like the Hawks. Like I totally, if JJ Redick has a bad shooting game, do you expect him to have a bad shooting game the next week? I don't,
Nope.
or the next game. I don't. JJ Redick was a beast. Kyle Korver was a beast. And I look at Kevin Herter in the same ilk. I totally expect him to just like have a 8 of 9 3-point shooting performance where he's just like an absolute stud and the Warriors can't guard him. Like I'm not worried at all.
I'm there with you. I think that's another one of the interesting things about this team and our personnel, that you keep highlighting. I mean, man, it could be anybody on any game. I can't imagine how frustrating that could be, or just how, I won't say demoralizing, but really how concerning, and maybe even stressful that can be for the Warriors, defensive coordinating. I mean, man, like you got to go guard Fox. You might even have to throw double teams at Fox, if he's going off and try to get the ball out of his hands. But damn, if that's the night that Kevin Herter is hot, you're torched. If that's the
Yeah.
night that Keegan Murray is hot and Malik Monk maybe is off a little bit, you're torched. If that's the game that Harrison Barnes wants to elevate past 13 and have another one of those like 22-point games, you're
Hmm.
torched. You know what I mean? It has to be distressing to the Warriors defense to know, like, okay, Kevin Herter and Keegan Murray didn't go off last game. Whew, let's go ahead and put more focus on Malik Monk. And oh, god damn it, we're in the middle of the game and this dude Keegan Murray is going off on us right
Exactly.
now. Like, bro, there's no end to it, man. So yeah, I like it's got to be pure chaos just to even know that, like, all of the people in all of our starters and considerable amount of our bench are just ticking time bombs.
Yes. And like I said at the top of the show, like Sabonis isn't going to score 12 points every game, but also Fox and Monk aren't going to be in the 30s every game either. You,
Yeah.
you hope Fox would be, but you never know. But that's why Murray and Herter are going to have to step their games up, and I think they will. And I think honestly, like if you look at the box score of this game for the Kings specifically, the scores, it's actually a really weird box score. It's really lopsided. Like you got guys that have a bunch of points and guys that have no points. And I definitely think as this series goes on, it will even out for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know what? Since we're over here, before we get to our top performers, again, Alex Lynn with 4 points, Trey Lyles with 16. Actually, I should have skipped him. Davion had 3. We had 6 for Herter, 12 for Sabonis, 2 for Keegan, 13 for Barnes. Let's go ahead and let's start talking about our top performers, starting with Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles played 18 minutes. He was 6 of 8 from the field. He was 4 of 6 from 3. He had a total of 6 rebounds. 4 of them were defensive, 2 offensive, 1 assist, just 3 personal fouls. Trey, the Kentucky boys showed up this game, with Trey
Yes, they
being one of
did.
them. Man, when he came in just knocking down those threes and stuff,
Woo!
Tap, I was like, if I was like, because I'm like, okay, Keegan's not hitting, Herter's not hitting. The second that he hit 2, I was like, all right, Trey's hitting, we good.
Yeah, he kept us in the game because at that point we could have went down 15, 18 points if he wasn't. That's what I'm saying. Him and Barnes, they didn't score a lot, but their points were so valuable to the game where we were at. We couldn't quite get over the hump, and Trey Lyles just gave us exactly what we needed.
Yeah, man, gave us exactly what we needed. True spark plug. I love how he flies in for rebounds. He's very
Yeah.
aggressive with his rebounds. And interesting enough, if anybody listened to the post game interviews with Fox and Monk that they did together, Fox says that there's 2 people on the team outside of the coaching staff who gets on him the hardest. He said it's Malik Monk, and he said it's Trey Lyles. And at first I was like, wow, Trey Lyles, he's such like a very cool, calm, and collected, kind of very reserved guy. But I remember they're all Kentucky boys, and there's just something that comes along with that brotherhood of playing over at UK. And accountability is a big thing. So it's nice to know that it's not just Malik Monk, but also Trey, that gets at Fox and keeps Fox honest. But is yeah, just so happy to have Trey Lyles. I have to say, out of everybody that can kind of that we might not be able to bring back next season, Trey Lyles is actually the one that I'm the most concerned about, even over Harrison Barnes, just because as a piece off of the bench, he's quite versatile between us being able to run small ball with him, his shooting that he provides, his rebounds that he provides. And although, Mike Brown just kind of discouraged him from doing it, he wants him to shoot more. The fact that his pump fake and put the ball on the floor gives him a little bit of playmaking too at the forward position. So Trey
Mhm.
Lyles is quite a valuable player for us, and I do hope that we're able to bring him back next year. But he might be playing
Like,
himself out of our range.
yeah, and if hypothetically, if Trey Lyles were to have a terrible game next game, I wouldn't be concerned about him either. He's another guy where it's like, next game he'll pick it right back up.
Exactly, man. All right, let's talk about our two top performers. Our guys that combined for 70 points: Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. Who you want to start with, Tap?
Let's start with Monk.
Okay, go for it.
Malik Monk's a stud. Malik Monk, in a lot of ways, like if you look at what he did yesterday, 14 of 14 from the free throw line, which is what sticks out the most. And once again, Malik Monk isn't going to get 14 free throws every game. This is why Sabonis needs to be getting more fouls, drawing more fouls. But the fact that Malik Monk, and it starts with Malik Monk driving to the basket. And if you look at guys like even like Kevin Herter, no free throws, Keegan Murray, no free throws, they don't really drive to the basket. Monk and Fox drive to the basket. They get the calls. That's why it's kind of odd that Sabonis doesn't get calls, but he's always passing the ball out. And
Right.
so it's kind of like if he were to be more aggressive offensively, I'm sure he would get those calls. But as far as Malik Monk goes, the dude is just an instant. He's a stud. He's a beast off the bench. He's basically he could be probably a spot starter. Like if we didn't have Kevin Herter went out, threw Malik Monk in there. I don't know that it would be quite as if he'd be quite as potent in the starting lineup. But Malik Monk off the bench is what a lot of teams wish they had, including the team that's playing right now where their star player can't move his arm that used to have Malik Monk, and they don't have him anymore, the Lakers. What a bunch of idiots. Why didn't you keep Malik Monk? So it's like Malik Monk is just, it's honestly, it's so cool seeing him and Fox together on a team. I always kind of had a feeling that Fox and Monk would play together at some point. And to see them doing it on the Kings, getting the Kings to the playoffs, it's just like it's like a movie. It's like a storybook type storyline. And Malik Monk is just the way he moves around. He's like electric when he plays, and he's all over the court, and he can shoot, he can drive. He's like the spark plug. He's like the glue that keeps the team together. And Malik Monk's a stud, and he's much better than Buddy Hield. We're gonna throw that one in there too. Why not?
Yeah, we got to throw that one in there. I mean, yeah, Buddy Hield, he is not. He plays like as cocky as Buddy can be, and some would like to say confident. Like Malik takes all of that to the next level. I love the way that he shoots. I love the way that he just plays so free. I'm not gonna act like some of that doesn't lead to some crazy wild turnovers,
Yeah,
but with guys like that, you got to take the good with the bad. These guys are
exactly.
gutsy. He attacks the rim. He does not avoid the contact, and he's not just trying to get to the rim. He wants to demoralize you.
Hmm.
He wants to put you in the hoop. He man like that. Those are the kind of gutsy players that you need, and we have seen
Especially in the
what,
playoffs.
especially in the playoffs. And we have seen what his presence has done for De'Aaron Fox, who was barely dunking last year. And then look, Fox tried to take a soul on national
That was
TV.
crazy. When he missed that dunk, I was like, "Oh, that would have been like one of the best playoff dunks of all time if he hit that."
Oh my gosh. It definitely would have been the best one so far in the playoffs, man. I mean, Fox is more prone to take those kind of dunks now because of the presence of Malik Monk. His shooting speaks for itself. Tap already talked about how he got to the line 14 times and knocked off 14 down. That's going to continue to be a key thing for us, especially with the Warriors and how aggressive they want to play defense with the Dante DiVincenzo's and all of that. It's just going to be a really big thing, man. Monk does so much for this team with just how he carries himself and the vibes that he exudes out to the rest of the teammates.
I will say the amount of complaining the Warriors did to the refs last night, I wouldn't be surprised if Malik Monk only gets like 6 free throws next game. Like Gary Payton was complaining, Steph was complaining. They were like, there's even that one play where Steph like totally like I don't know, he like blocked someone with his. I forget who he was trying to defend somebody, and he basically like ran into him. And
Mm-hmm.
then like even my girlfriend was like, "How does he not think that was a foul? Why is he complaining?" I think the refs are going to have like a makeup game where the Warriors get all these calls and the Kings get none. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But overall, though, Malik Monk, that man getting 14 free throws and knocking them all down. I think he tied a record of
Yeah,
some
he
sort.
did.
It was like most free throws or something ever in the debut your player's playoff
Debut
debut.
without missing a single one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was pretty sick. Malik Monk's the man, and it's like you kind of can't talk about Malik Monk without talking about De'Aaron Fox. They feel so intertwined at this point, even though they've only been together on an NBA team for 1 year this year. It just feels like they feed off of each other, and it's beautiful to watch. I don't know. I love. I mean, it's so sick to me that they came together on this team, and it's like it sucked for Malik Monk because I liked him when coming out of college, and he just didn't seem like he was producing the way that he was supposed to. And they even said yesterday on the broadcast that Jay Triano was on the Charlotte Hornets coaching staff, and um, Malik Monk, I guess, had said something like Jay Triano was the only person that didn't like have him like jumping off a roof or something, like going crazy. Like he basically hated his time in Charlotte, and Jay Triano helped him become a better player and understand things mentally. And now he's on the Kings coaching staff with Malik Monk, with Fox. It's like we finally have, I don't know, maybe it sounds stupid being a Kings fan, someone that's never had something that works. We've always been like broken down on the side of the road looking for a ride. We can never get to work. We're always calling into work, letting them know, hey, we can't make it. And they're like, we're always on the verge of being fired. That's what I feel like being a Kings fan. Like you're just struggling in the struggle. And now it's like I get to brag about having like a good coaching staff and players that like each other. It sounds lame, but it's something I never experienced before. Last time the Kings were good, I was literally like 8 years old. So this is all new for me. This is all new for me.
Yeah, man, and we should have our space to enjoy it, man. I mean, like, who deserves it more than us? As loyal as we've been to this team, as much money and time and attention and care and concern, I mean, that we've put into this franchise. In the immortal words of the great philosopher Nemanja Bjelica, fuck it, we deserve this, man. Like, he said it best. So,
It just
yeah,
feels good not to
man.
struggle anymore. That's just the main thing I take away from this whole game. Even if we lose the next 4 games and we're out, I feel like we're not struggling anymore. I feel like we have something to build off of.
Yeah, man.
And having
Absolutely.
the interconnectedness with Fox and Monk and Jay Triano, who is connected to Monk, and then you got Trey Lyles, who's a Kentucky guy, and then you have um you have Sabonis in there as almost like our anchor that anchors the team together. It's just like, wow, is this what like Warriors fans have been feeling for the last 10 years? Must be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, man. And it gets higher than this, man. It gets higher than this because there's some hardware involved. But
Exactly.
yeah, like yeah, just to have, I'm just honestly super happy for Monk. Definitely happy for Fox too, because Fox, was performing better, but he just didn't have he didn't have a competent organization to properly, elevate his talents. And Monty McNair, we'll save a little space towards the end to say a few words about Monty McNair, but the way that he's been able to rein this organization in, get us leaders like Mike Brown who builds out fantastic, coaching, coaching
Coaching
staff.
staff.
Yep, and even with the pieces that he had to keep, like I don't think it was up to, I don't think it was really up to Mike Brown whether he had to keep Doug Christie or not, or Lindsey Harding.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think that was a mandate. But look what he's done. Credit to them for being quality, teammates. Especially with the rest of the coaching staff. We know what DC can do and what he's capable of. We know how he's connected to the city, and we know how he connects with players so well. And I think it was good to keep some familiarity so it wasn't a total swap out. Coach Lindsey Harding, as beautiful as she is, I mean, like, she's just such a joy. If you watch her in interviews, she just exudes positivity. She exudes a passion for basketball, and especially working with players. You could tell she really appreciated her time as a player, and she just tries to put her courage and her experience into these young guys to give them. I remember I went to a few of the Golden One Center fan experiences.
Hmm.
And at Tap, we went to, that was like the thing that we did together, right? Yeah, we
Yes,
that
we
was one
did.
of the ones we did together. Man, like we saw her down there working with TD. Every time I went to one of those, it was always her and TD, and just the way that that they would interact, and how fun drills were. As someone who watches a fair amount of NBA basketball, I watched the body language that players and like certain coaching staff have and stuff like that. And I can
Hmm.
tell you, not all of the coaches that are there doing the drills with the players and stuff like that, it don't always look like they're enjoying the game. A lot for a lot of teams, it looks like a lot of just going through the motions. But for us to see the joy that everybody had being together like that translates over to the court. And we can talk about the king of the court right now, Mr. De'Aaron Fox. God damn, 38 points and your playoff debut. I think he likes the big stage, Tap. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so for sure. This man is absolute dominant force. You cannot stop him. You can only hope to contain him, and they did not do that either. Did not contain him at all.
Nope.
Fox 4 of 8 from three, and like to me, the biggest thing with Fox that I always said was that he's got to start shooting threes better. Like his 3 point shooting, his shooting in general, free throw shooting, 3 point shooting was not very good when he came into the league. He's pretty much just raw athleticism. And now, obviously, all these years later, he's put it together. He can like if Fox 4 years ago dribbled down the court and pulled up from three, I'd be like disgusted. But now he does it, and I expect it to go in.
Yeah.
And I never honestly thought that I was going to get to that point with Fox where I I I just didn't know if he'd ever have it in him. You see these guys like Ben Simmons, who seems like he doesn't want to work on anything ever at
Right.
all. And you never know if Fox is going to have some of that in him, which I never really thought he did. But some of these guys like don't work on their shooting. Like Giannis is somebody who's worked on his shooting, and it's not great, but it's a whole hell of a lot better than it used to be. And like Giannis can shoot a three, and I'm not like horrified by it, like I would be if Ben Simmons attempted it, which he doesn't do because he's a wimp. But
Right.
Fox can shoot the ball and get to the free throw line. Honestly, I feel like Fox. I don't know. Do you think Fox should be getting more than 12 free throws a game? Do you think he should be getting fouled a little more than he does? Like they're not giving him all the calls that they should? Because I mean, you see these guys like James Harden that would drive to the basket and get crazy free throw numbers. And I feel like James Harden wasn't even getting fouled half the time. I feel like Fox gets fouled a lot more than some of these stars that ref bait, and they're not getting. He's not getting like the free throws that some of these other guys would. So I don't know. I don't know, Skip. Do you think he should be getting more free throws than he is, or do you think 12 is a good number for him per game?
Nah, he should definitely be getting more. It kind of like the thing with, honestly. So the our people that go into the paint the most is Fox, Monk, and obviously Sabonis. But the thing about them is they don't play for the foul; they play for the bucket.
Yeah.
And since they're not flopping and flailing and all of that, they don't get the call. Someone who's really good at drawing fouls. Actually, the best player on our team that's good at drawing fouls is Harrison Barnes. And what I like about Harrison is he knows how to draw the contact, and he still doesn't flop. But he's so big, he makes the contact so obvious that the refs gotta
Yes.
call it. But man, Fox and Monk and Sabonis, they're really going at the cup. And especially like Sabonis, he's so strong. Instead of like getting the contact and flails, he gets the contact, but their
Just goes
arms
through
like
it. Yeah.
back, he goes through it. And Fox is honestly the same way. Like he'll go up, but when the contact comes, he'll draw the contact from the body. But as far as the arms, he's doing all of his switches, like that crazy. So the refs sometimes they miss the contact that's there, and all of them honestly should be getting more fouls. And I think you know what? I mean, at this point, because Fox, remember, this is something that I always was pointing out. 2 seasons ago, Fox had learned how to draw fouls. And then remember, the foul rule changed as you're going for a bucket. And
Mhm.
then after that, he couldn't get the fouls the way he would before, and he was getting frustrated. He got over that last season, and he said, you know what, since I can't draw the fouls, I'm just going to go for the bucket again. The only thing that sucks is he's scoring more. I mean, like he's in like I think he was like the best finisher around the rim for a guard this season, or at least like through most of the season that he was. But man, I mean, like they won't call it because he's so damn good at finishing and he doesn't flop, man, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Like you you don't get rewarded for playing the game the right way.
Yeah. So essentially, if if De'Aaron Fox wants to draw more free throws, he needs to go like this, like James Harden used to, like when he goes to the
Yeah,
basket
you
and
gotta
flop his
you
head
gotta
back.
you
And
gotta
then
check your head.
Sabonis, he needs to deploy the DeMarcus Cousins technique. He needs to start wearing a headband, and then so his
Yes.
headband can get knocked off, and he could be like looking at the
Oh!
ref while his headband's wiggling around.
That's pretty much it, man. I mean, he's not gonna get calls. Either that or he's gotta go full Joel Embiid, where he's like just putting his arms out like this so guys can just like hack
Yeah,
around and then he walks straight to the free throw line. He doesn't even wait for the whistle to be blown. He just gets the contact and he walks straight to the free throw
exactly.
line. It's so disgusting.
Well, what's see the thing is, and like I'm known as being a Carmelo fanboy, but what I liked about Carmelo is that he never was like a flopper.
Right.
He never did any of that stuff. He was just Carmelo just wanted to get buckets, even if it
Yeah.
was like 5 of 17 shooting. He would just want to get buckets, and so I don't know how people root for like James Harden or Joel Embiid. Like I can't stand those guys. I mean, I like Embiid's game because he reminds me of like a more like if DeMarcus Cousins didn't complain after every whistle and DeMarcus Cousins had a little more gumption about him when he played.
Mhm.
Not that I didn't think DeMarcus like worked his ass off, but I feel like I don't know. DeMarcus was what was that? Do you remember that video? It was like uh NBA players read Twitter. It was I think Jimmy Kimmel Live did it, and somebody called
Oh
DeMarcus an
yeah.
emotional lesbian.
Yes, I remember.
So if DeMarcus didn't act like such an emotional lesbian, he would have been Joel Embiid. But that's
Straight
why I
up.
like Embiid's game in that aspect. It's like what could have been with DeMarcus. But I don't know how people root for someone that just like constantly is trying to draw fouls and like I don't see Steph Curry will try to draw fouls on threes, kick his
Mhm.
legs out sometimes, but like these guys that just drive to the basket and just like they expect fouls to be awarded to them. It is like you said, sickening. It's disgusting.
It's an illness, bro. Like it really reeks to high heaven, but we don't got those guys on our squad, so we
Exactly.
good. Again, just to wrap up Fox, man, 40 minutes, 13 of 27 from the field. That's 48%, almost 50%. Shot 50% from three, as you said, 4 of 8. This dude went to the free throw line 12 times, made 8 of them. Like to see that a little higher, but we'll take it for this game.
Yes.
5 assists, 3 steals, man, and only 3 turnovers for the whole game. Like, oh man, that's just incredible. Fox in his playoff debut very much showed that he is the guy to continue to take it forward. And now that the league is on notice, yeah, now we can kick around the ball and really turn into just a all around headache with our ball movement and everything.
Hmm.
All right, Sap. Well, I mean, that's pretty much that. We covered the performance. I'm not really going to talk about the Warriors' performance too much. I will just say a few things. A lot of ankles got taken. A lot of
Yes.
ankles got De'Aaron Fox's inscription on them. I mean, Curry got his ankles taken. Clay is my guy. His ankles were
Clay got
snatched.
destroyed on that one play.
Bro, destroyed.
Fox like turned him inside out like 3 times and then drove right past him. It was amazing. There was
Bro,
that other
like,
play too where they tried to double team him up and they tried to trap him up in the corner and I
yeah.
forget who it might have been Kuminga and Steph or Kuminga and or I don't remember
Yeah.
who it was,
And
but I
he
think he
just
just zoomed right
broke
by
past
him.
both of them.
I was on the couch. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I was like so pumped when that happened.
Bro, he just made
I
them
will
all look
say,
goofy. Even Dante DiVincenzo, he was cooking Dante. And I mean,
yeah,
obviously Dante was on our team last year, so you already know, I want him extra spicy, you know what I'm saying, with a little crisp to him. He cooked up Dante,
exactly.
bro.
I will say, even the first like I don't know what it is, just because I've never like literally. I would always root for the Spurs in the playoffs because I never had the Kings to root for. So I always liked how the Spurs played because they didn't play like James Harden. So I always rooted for him. And I mean, not to say I wouldn't notice these things if the Warriors are playing somebody else, but even the first like this, like the first note on I made some notes yesterday, even though I haven't really referenced them at all. The first note I wrote was Steph's gravity was felt immediately. Like as soon as Steph got the ball and he was like just pump faking for, I was like, oh my God. Like it was like a helplessness that I've never felt before because I've never truly cared who was defending the Warriors. I didn't care. Now that I'm a Kings fan and no, I've always been a Kings fan, but now that I'm as a Kings fan watching them play And as soon as Steph got the ball, I could see the whole court, like the Kings. I could see you could see the Kings just kind of go towards him. It's like the gravity of Steph.
Yeah.
Everybody goes towards Steph when and it's just like, wow, man. I don't know. Like Steph's the man. Like I've like talked some shit about Steph before, like just like in my personal life, like oh that he's like he looks like a little kid and he's a wimp and he dances around just like being stupid. But like overall, like Steph is the shit. Like Steph's awesome. Just seeing him and it's like the gravity that his presence on the court for somebody that's just like he looks like a like meek, skinny. Like, he doesn't look like he'd be anybody, but when he gets the ball, it's like wow, like that he's the man. So uh Steph's gravity was felt right away, and they did a pretty good job of keeping him at bay. I think
Yeah. They did.
him and I did get worried though. The thing that worried me the most of anybody was seeing Clay hit some shots, and like literally my third note I wrote was that the Kings can't buy a three, and they need to keep Clay at bay. And that was before Clay even started hitting shots. I knew that I just had a feeling that Clay might start getting it going. I got a little scared, and I'm not too worried though, because like I said at the beginning of the show, Clay's pretty inconsistent. It's literally just this team is literally just about stopping Steph. If we can do that, I think we're solid.
Yeah.
Like
They don't
Clay,
they, they don't have enough other pieces that can really, really, really beat us.
no, like towards the end of the game too, like it was kind of weird. The Warriors fell apart. Like they just were jacking up threes towards the end. It was and like Wiggins threw it. Like Wiggins shot a three, and I was like, oh, that's a brick, and it was like an ugly ass brick too.
It was
Like
really
clanked.
ugly.
It was like clanked and went sideways, and I was like, yeah, like Wiggins is cool. I like Wiggins, but he's to me he doesn't. I would take Harrison Barnes over if it was like prime Harrison Barnes, prime Wiggins. I'd take Barnes. Barnes just a little smarter of a player. Wiggins sometimes plays like he doesn't like it's just it seems like it doesn't all kind of fit in Wiggins' head when he play. I don't know. I can't explain it, but he just seems like he's a tad slow
Yeah.
with what's going on the court.
He is.
Um,
He's not like he's not like a high IQ player. This is his best version of himself, like
yeah,
with his maturity and this organization. But I mean, he's frankly just missed too many games to be exactly what they need him to be. I think in the first round, or at least even in just the first 5 games. I don't think he's going to be that. But I mean, he's viable, but he's not going to be what he was last year for them right now. It's not going to happen. Missed
exactly.
too many
So,
games.
anyways, that's pretty much all I had to say about the Warriors. I hope Draymond Green stubs every toe tonight, so he can't walk tomorrow. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Warriors. Nothing crazy. I just if the Kings can stop Steph, which is a task in of itself, if the Kings can stop Steph, oh, I think we'll be golden. I really do. I'm not scared of this Warriors team, really at all. And like Jordan Poole, God, that guy is just I can't stand the facial expressions and just the way he moves, everything. He's just the most. Oh, he's like it's like the dad from Powerpuff Girls went into his laboratory and tried to make Drake a basketball player, and he came out with Jordan Poole. That was like the sugar and spice and everything nice, and it's Jordan Poole. I just can't. I can't stand Drake as a rapper. I think he's horrible. I just don't like it personally. And to me, Jordan Poole is like NBA's Drake. I just can't. I can't with the dude. I can't do it. So, anyways, that's all I gotta say about the Warriors.
Yeah, man, that's pretty much it too. Let's see, just looking at the points. I mean, yeah, really, Clay had 21, Steph had 30. Poole did come in with 17, and then Wiggins ended up having 17, score more than I thought he did. But yeah, he was 1 of 8 from three, 7 of 16. He was 43% from the field. Yeah, I'm not really worried about those guys. And should things heat up, I mean, we still have weapons. Like if Andrew Wiggins is doing a bit much, I mean, like HB gonna do fine enough on him. But if we need to throw in Kessler Edwards, we literally can. We got tools
Yeah.
that we can throw out guys, and give different looks. So I think we'll be just fine.
Well, if you look
I
at like Draymond and Kevon Looney are basically complete non-factors on offense. Obviously, Draymond is like kind of their point forward, their assist guy, kind of like Sabonis is for us. But I feel like Sabonis can do so much more. I feel like than Draymond. I don't know. Draymond. I've never been impressed with Draymond Green. I've never really liked him, and I just feel like overall the Warriors are kind of have a lopsided offense. Like the Kings seem so much more like diverse and it's like so much more spread apart. Whereas the Warriors, it's like, okay, Steph, Clay, and DiVincenzo, let's do it. Because
Yeah,
Andrew
shoot
Wiggins
a
is
bunch of
probably a little bit out of
threes.
shape. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. And
And the
like,
only thing that I mean, Draymond ain't gonna shoot. The only thing he gonna do is like he'll set one of those screens, and then he'll roll to the basket. If we like if he slips, they'll dip him the ball, and then he'll act like he's going to the rim, and then he shovel
Yeah,
passes the corner guy who
every
backdoor
time.
cuts.
Same thing every time.
Same thing. That I mean, literally, we just got to stop those backdoor cuts, and I'm not really worried about the rest of our defense.
I will say it was a little weird to me if I'm playing like devil's advocate, like if I was a Warriors fan, it seemed like Gary Payton should have got more minutes. Like when the Kings offense was getting going, like Gary Payton is supposedly their best defender besides Draymond. You got to have him out there more, I think. I even saw some Warriors fans on Twitter that were like, why is Gary Payton sitting? Like the Kings are on a run. I don't know if we'll see more Gary Payton, but I don't really know who he's going to stop. If Kevin Herter's going and Keegan Murray's going, I mean, even if they shut down Fox, Sabonis isn't going to score 12 points a game. Like, I don't know how the Warriors can defend this Kings team. I don't know. I don't see it. I feel really good about this series.
Yeah,
Famous last words.
I feel really good about this series. Um, yeah, you think any adjustments Kings need to make
Um,
besides the ones we already talked about? Just like Domas just being more aggressive.
Not really. I think if I look at it minutes wise, I guess I didn't really think about this till now, but Keegan Murray only got 16 minutes. Why was that? Is it just because he wasn't making shots? Did Mike Brown pull him because of that? Or because Trey Lyles was making shots and Murray wasn't? Or what was the impetus for Keegan Murray not only getting 16 minutes?
Yeah, I think yeah, it's just his shot wasn't dropping, and then like all the other people that took his minutes, Trey Lyles,
Yeah.
was basically Trey Lyles took his minutes, and Trey Lyles was producing.
Yeah, I think maybe Keegan Murray should probably be playing 20 minutes a game at least. But I mean, if he's not hitting his shots, he's not hitting his shots. But I mean, like I said, I'm not worried about Keegan Murray. And on top of that, uh, like looking at like the bench, like the guys that didn't play: Metu, Holmes, Kessler, Edwards, Terrence Davis, PJ Dozier. The only two guys that would really get minutes, I think, out of that group is Holmes and Edwards, unless hypothetically like Herter got hurt, and then maybe Terrence Davis would see the floor.
Yep.
But I don't really think the team could be helped by any of those guys playing. So I think like this rotation, this 9 guys that played yesterday will probably be our rotation going forward. Maybe Holmes sees some minutes in place of Lynn, hypothetically, but I think he's too undersized. I don't really think there's many changes to make. I think our team is just our team. I think we just have what we have, and I think we're fine the way it's currently constituted, honestly.
Yeah, I'm good with it. My only caveat is I think this is our rotation for this series. I think
Yeah.
our rotation can change depending on what the next matchup is. And I think Monty McNair constructed the roster exactly like that. His, big word for the last 2 seasons was optionality. And we definitely have that for the playoff series. So I think this is going to be our roster going forward for the rest of this series. And when we spank the Warriors and we move on to the next one, we'll see who we match up against. And I think we might see maybe some more casts. So I think we might chill on Alex Lynn for size if we want to do more small ball, and maybe Holmes, does get some more minutes, or even Metu if we need to have a more switchable big, that can do a
Hmm.
little bit of paint, a little bit of rebounding, and some better perimeter defense. So we'll see. But also, I believe that if Keegan Murray, if he is just hitting his shots and he's just providing that defense, like I said he did in spurts last game, I mean, his 15 could very well turn into the 20 or maybe even 25 that you were talking about. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All
I will
right,
say
man.
if we do
Well,
play the Grizzlies if we do make it past the Warriors, we play the Grizzlies. We may need to figure out a way if we can sign somebody that can deflect bullets. Because if Joel Morant's on the court, we're going to be in trouble. If someone that maybe they have bulletproof skin or something. I don't know if there's like if one of the Kurt's in the comics. Is there like superhero that has it's like bulletproof? I guess Superman's bulletproof, right? And you can shoot him. If we could
call in
sign
Clark Kent.
Superman for the Grizzly series, as long as John Morant doesn't have kryptonite, which
Then
he
we good.
might. I didn't see it in that Instagram video, but he could.
He
You never
could.
know.
Next time he's dangling a little piece of kryptonite instead of a little tiny 22 or whatever the heck he snuck into that strip club. Yeah, man. Yeah, we would need some maybe bulletproof arm sleeves and compression shorts, because that man really got away with all that. Like, that's
I'll tell you who's
crazy to
not
me.
bulletproof though is Anthony Davis.
Oh my gosh, no, that guy is tissue paper, plain clothes, plain clothes. Um, Man, really, I think we can cap it off with Monty McNair, man. I mean, damn, Monty McNair hires Mike Brown. I thought it was gonna. I was like, yeah, maybe next year. Like I said, maybe this year we can do some playing stuff. Next year we'll lock down a playoff spot. Man, we locked down the third seed, bro. Can we just give Monty McNair some flowers real quick? Like, does he not deserve to be executive of the year? Like Mike Brown,
Yeah,
coach of the
for
year,
sure.
him executive of the year, Domas and Fox, all at least both all third team, if not all second team and all third
Hmm.
team. Coach Brown gets NBA player of the year, man. Like Monty made it happen for us, man.
Yeah, Monty's the man. I was a little worried. Monty McNair comes from a lineage of fat, greasy slobs, and by that I mean Daryl Morey. And I'm not a fan of Daryl Morey. He's greasy looking. He looks like tapioca pudding with eyes. I'm just not a fan. But with that being said, Daryl Morey is not Monty McNair. Monty McNair is not Daryl Morey. Monty McNair, he's a beast. He 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 put this team together in such a way that like you heard us talk about the whole time. The the team is so versatile. They fit together, and it was put together he like he he knew what he was doing. Which me being a Kings fan my whole life, I'm not used to someone that knows what they're doing. So we'll just leave it at that. I'm proud of McNair. I'm happy that we did extend him, right, like a month or two ago.
Yeah, we did. We have
Extended
extended the
him.
Monty.
And I think that contract goes through Mike to like the end of Mike Brown's contract, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yep, they aligned them up, so they're concurrent.
So hey, if the Kings can make the playoffs next couple years, and hell, maybe we'll re-sign both of those guys going forward. Maybe this will be like the next Rick Adelman run type thing, where Mike Brown's our new Rick Adelman. I'm fine with that. Monty McNair can keep this team playing well and keep this team cohesive together. I'm fine. I was honestly like, who the hell is this guy when they signed Monty McNair? But I'm on the bandwagon now. So unless he shows up with like you know greasy looking hair and James Harden on one arm and PJ Tucker on the other, like Daryl Morey, which I don't think he will, then I think we're in good shape.
Bro, I'm with you, man. Yeah, Monty the Monster McNair, man. This dude, he really did it for us. He came in and he brought the C word, man. He brought competence. He
Hmm.
made competent moves. Some that I didn't agree with at the time, like letting Bogey walk for nothing.
Yeah, I was actually talking
But
about that with somebody yesterday, and I was like, man, I can't believe they did that. But looking back at it, it feels like nothing even happened. Like it.
let's not like. And I still love Bogey, but I just watched him play the other day against hell, I'm forgetting who they were even
Was it
playing
yesterday
against.
against Boston?
I did watch him play yesterday against Boston, and yeah, and like he wasn't doing that great. He like
No.
I think he had one play where he had a steal and got fouled when they needed the buckets. But man, like letting him walk left us open, and we had the cap space to make the moves that we needed to, and to think about the fact that this is not the best version of this Kings team. This is
Hmm.
just the best Kings team thus far. To know
Yeah.
that now that we're winning, not that people will still just be flocking here, but more people will be willing to come here. We can pitch them the whole like you're the missing piece that we need in order to take things to the next level. We can pitch all of that, and in addition to all of that, this is a sidebar for Monty, but Fox signing with Clutch Sports. As much as I cannot stand Rich Paul,
Yeah, I was
but
like disgusted by that.
yeah, I was like, yeah. But after my initial disgust, because I can't stand Rich Paul and I can't stand LeBron James,
Hmm.
my second thought was a thought of clarity. I said, hold on, wait, no, no, no. Fox is actually going to get some help sent over him now, because that's what Clutch Sports does. They pair their clients together. So we will be able to get people over here on a team, on a contract that will be reasonable, that can work to where this team can continue to build and get better. So this is not the best version of this team just yet. It's just the best team version thus far, and we have Monty McNair to thank for that. And also thank you, Vivek Ranadive, for staying out of the way more than you ever have before.
I'll tell you what though, Vivek made sure that he was lighting that beam yesterday with with Fox when, or was it Fox that lit the beam
It
yesterday?
was Fox, bro. It
I
was
saw
Fox.
Vivek's little hand in there. He had to hit it too.
Bro, you know, and what was funny is I was totally thinking like in a Seinfeld or like Curb Your Enthusiasm way, because his hand went down last. And like I was just thinking, oh my gosh, if like Fox pulled his hand up and would have been like, ah, I'd just been like, it would remind me of in Curb Your Enthusiasm when Larry went to the Lakers game and he sat courtside and he stuck his foot out and he tripped Shaq and Shaq got injured. It totally would have been one of those moments. But
I
I
actually
was
was watching
crying.
the hands very specifically to make sure Vivek didn't hit the buzzer first. I'm like, if Vivek hits it first, that's like him
Yeah.
taking credit for the Kings winning this game, and I'm just like, oh, like, but he
Right.
didn't. He didn't.
He
I would
didn't.
just, you know, I
Fox's
just
hands
didn't
went down
want.
first, and then
Yeah.
Vivek's hands, like after it went on, he was like, "Oh my gosh, this is our star point guard," and I saw his little fingers, little flop, man, and I was like, "Yeah, don't like
Oh,
don't get me pissed off at you. I'm still trying to woo your daughter. All right."
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Anywho, Anjali, you're the executive of the year in my book, girl. Anyway, I think that about wraps up game one
Yes, sir.
of the playoff return of the Sacramento Kings after 16 years. They took the W 123 to 126. The Sactown Breakdown is back, so me and Tap will be back for game two. We got to
Yes,
work out
sir.
schedules and stuff, but we will be back for it. And we appreciate y'all being patient while the Sactown Breakdown built back up for these
Yes, sir.
playoffs. I got to go to the game. Y'all see the Feel the Roar shirt. I was in the building. This is the shirt that they handed out to everybody. It was dope. And I'll share some pictures on the Sactown Breakdown Twitter. So go check us out. And we'll see all y'all next time.
See you guys. Hey, Kurt, you have any anything you want to plug before we go?
Plug. I mean, if y'all want to come see me talk about some comics on my Twitch channel, it's right there, you know, twitch.tv/Skipntosh. So you can come check me out. My man Tap got a gaming channel too. Tell it what part of SmackDown are you, or what version of SmackDown are you playing right now?
Right now, my channel is not at Tap2K. It is Tap Plays Games, spelled just like it sounds. And I'm playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 Definitive Edition on a PS2 emulator on my PC. You gotta be a real loser to know what anything I just said. But that's what I'm doing, and it's fun. So that's we do make content on the side, but I think we were the thing is we were so burnt out on Kings that it was like that we're done with this. So we are doing stuff on the side, but like Curtis said, we're converging for the playoffs. Here we are. So at Tap Plays Games, at Skipntosh, the cream will rise to the top.
Cream rises to the top. Damn it, I don't know how he did that to this day.
The cream
always rises to the top.
Nobody does it better. He says at the end, and then he walks off. Nobody does it better.
Hold on, wait, bro. Most recently, I gotta say this. Most recently, I saw the program where he was a promo where he was talking about he went to see like a psychiatrist. He said, "Yeah, I went to see a shrink." She said, "I got OC." She said, "I had OCD. I was one cool dude." Macho Man, you are the greatest ever.
Macho Man. I'm gonna start coming up with. I'm gonna look up like mental illnesses and come up with the Macho Man
Like
dictionary
acronym.
for mental illnesses. Oh my god,
Oh, that was so
that's
incredible.
great.
Oh, shout out to Macho Man, one of the greatest to
R.I.P.
ever do it. R.I.P.
Alrighty,
We'll
see you
see y'all
guys.
next time. Game 2. Peace.